The Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
You would never guess who's in the studio with us.
Peter.
We thought, what introduction most captures Peter Dutton? And I think we found it.
The federal leader of the opposition, Peter Dutton, is in the house.
P-E-T-E-R.
Guys, I can't believe how much work and effort and imagination you've put into
I know. We had that
a lot of
commission.
preparation. That is impressive.
Was it one of the best you've had?
I'm really sort of blown away because the creativity of that and
Thank you.
the introduction of the word Peter, that was...
Would you like it as your ringtone?
Would you mind?
I would not, Peter Dutton. I would not mind at all.
Right.
Peter Dutton, what are you doing in Perth and what are you doing doing the rounds here in particular?
Well, just a couple of nights in Perth, back home to Brisbane on the weekend, but a busy day, and it's also a really special day for the Vietnam veteran community. So 50 years since the end of the Vietnam War. And, you know, the Vietnam vets were treated pretty poorly when they came back to us.
It's really amazing, isn't it?
So I just think we celebrate them, their service to our country. They went in, the direction of the government. So I think we should do more to celebrate their contribution. They're all getting a lot older.
It's crazy that they were conscripted to go. They weren't even volunteering.
And then punished when they got
home.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Disgraceful chapter.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think spend a bit of time with them today, which will be nice, and some meetings otherwise with a few key business people and movers and shakers around town. But best to start with you guys, I guess.
Best to get the hardest job out of the way first.
Pete, we went to the lodge recently, last month, in fact. We went to the lodge. So, movers and shakers, you're in the right circle.
How many times have you dropped that, Sean?
We've never actually brought it up again since we did it, Peter.
No, secret lodge business.
But I mean, it was a private dinner in the dining room.
Toto was there?
Toto was there.
All of it. We don't go too much into what happened. Let's just say several of the staff quit that night. My thing is we always play the long game. We've been on air for 20 years now, so you could be in power. So, Peter Dutton,
gonna have to up the ante, aren't you?
Peter Dutton, we've had dinner in the lodge.
Yeah.
If you would like our support, what are we getting from you to make us feel special?
Well, I can match it on the one proviso. I just want to check with Albo.
Okay.
There was no missing cutlery.
But we were going to steal these little things that had with that salt in them.
Pepper.
But they had their eyes on them and they came and took them straight away afterwards.
They whisked them away very quickly.
And cameras watching from every angle, so be careful.
Yeah, I know all the eyes were cut out of the paintings.
You never know.
So what
you're not committing to anything.
Well, no, I'm happy to commit. I mean, what about Kirribilli? You haven't been to Kirribilli?
No, we haven't been to Kirribilli, that's true.
Okay. And maybe fireworks there on...
Yeah. Probably the next step is to have a stay over, I would think.
Well, you're welcome, jammies.
Sleepover.
Yeah.
I want
full jammies, not no brief version.
So are you committing on a sleepover?
I just feel like I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
No, that's fine. No. This is great. This is, you know what I mean?
Come on, you're a politician. Make promises.
Okay. So when you're saying, when you get into power, we're going to stay at your place in Kirribilli.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have a sleepover. Okay. Just Netflix and chill. Nothing too, you know what I mean?
With or without fireworks.
And you know what? We'll see what happens.
It can be a loose night. I think we can do that. I think that's possible.
Okay.
Okay, this is on tape.
And we don't need fully fledged fireworks. I'll be happy with you running across the lawn with a sparkler.
Okay, all right. Well, it's cost cutting, and Labor's run out of money, so I suppose we can do this.
We're all about austerity.
That's it.
So we did when we went to Canberra. I'd never been to Canberra before. That was my first experience of it as a city and as an entity, and it's a strange world. When Parliament's sitting? Where do you stay in Canberra? What do you do?
It's like a Washington. I mean, the place has been designed for government, so everything's sort of sanitised and clinical, and it's actually a really great city to visit. And if you're going across, spend a few days, because particularly for the kids to go to the War Memorial, to the museums, but Parliament House as well is pretty spectacular.
Yes.
So a variety of things you can do for parliamentarians. So you stay at a hotel. Public servants sort of rent rooms out. Yeah. So some people do that. I rent an apartment there.
Yeah.
And
is it? Do you have parliamentary buddies as your housemates?
I've got a staffer, person who works in the office. So he's in the second room.
I think it's got a spa, doesn't it? It's got a spa.
It has no spa. I think I can't explain to you how disappointed you would be. You're welcome to come and stay at my apartment in Canberra, but we're talking pretty lowbrow.
Okay.
But look, you spend about 19 weeks a year there.
Yeah.
And, if you're checking in and out of hotels every week for that period of time.
Yeah,
to do
you
my
need
head
a
in.
base.
So you can do your washing, and I do most of my own ironing down there. So
Most
I'm
of your own
pretty
ironing.
pretty
Enjoy it?
self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. Some people actually enjoy and relax. Nathan, you want
I'd never liked ironing until I bought a cordless iron, Peter,
okay.
and I
That's
realised
good
that was the
was the
shackle.
cord that was holding you back.
it was the noose around my neck. And then once I got that off and I was cordless, I'm just ironing all around my place.
And there's probably a deeper message in that too if you had it. A professional look. I'd get a professional.
I'll try to. They won't see me.
Yeah, okay.
don't have the time.
But I agree. I think it's like mowing the grass, right? Like once it's done and you've got a nice sort of crisp, line in the shirt.
Yeah.
That's a sense of satisfaction. The grass is sort of in rows and lines.
You know what? First time we're learning things about you.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Can I just tell you something from everyone in Australia? Whoever picked out your glasses did a bloody good job.
No, and he's been saying this for a long time.
I have.
Because that
When you put your glasses
whenever
on,
you come on,
you were missing them for so long, and they look. You know when some people just look really, really great in glasses.
did you pick them out yourself?
You look so good in glasses.
My wife did.
Did
Yeah,
she?
right,
She's
okay.
good.
Yeah.
She's good.
So I resisted the glasses for a while because I just assumed that I'm 53 this year, so I'm getting older, and I just assumed that putting weight on, finding it harder to get weight off, going bald, that. What could happen next? And of course, I start to go blind, and I feel my hearing's fading as well. So I just don't know what's next. So I pushed it out for as long as I could, but now
then
now I can see again.
Your arms weren't long enough to hold the thing out anymore. Yeah, gets to that point.
The light on the camera on the menu, which used to embarrass the kids in the restaurant, that was a bit of a tipping point as well.
Have you seen that thing that's off for sale on TV at the moment for the older generation that can't read? And it's like a magnifying. It's like an iPad, but it's a magnifying glass.
Yes,
and it's called the Candy something
over the book.
Yeah, and then you turn the light on. Imagine, Peter, imagine having to pull that out of a restaurant.
Yeah. Glasses are less embarrassing than that. I say that as someone who wears glasses.
98 font. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Pete, from an Australian point of view at the moment, everyone's talking about the cost of living. There's two things, right? So there's the voice, which I'll get to in a second, but the cost of living that everyone's talking about at the moment, inflation, whatnot. When Labor took over from Liberal, they were saying, okay, we can get this under control, or we'll do a better job. That's probably more so. We'll do a better job. Are they doing a better job? And where do you see the downfall and what's happening at the moment?
Well, Sean, I always say there are good and bad people on both sides of politics, right? I get on well with Albo, and he's spoken about that.
He's actually said that you're a good guy. Yeah.
But I don't know whether it's just sort of all talk, no doing. But a lot of the promises that they've made just haven't been followed through with. Now, they'll say, the Ukraine and inflation and all of those.
Yeah, and worldwide inflation. It's not a condition particular to Australia.
But it's like they want you to believe that international events and influences have just happened since they came into government. I mean, for every government, you've got to face, a pandemic, a war in the Middle East, disruption in the tourism market coming into Australia, etc. Every government's got to deal with that. And I just think the decisions they've made in the last two budgets have probably been off mark. And, they've got their training wheels on, but I think families at the moment would struggle to say that they're better off today than they were 18 months, 2 years ago.
Oh, 100%. I would have to say, when you're looking at people's bank accounts, people are feeling it. It feels like just a wave of stuff since COVID, though. Like I feel like the world was changed. My thing at the moment is not only cost of living, but the housing crisis and the rental crisis. I went and viewed a few houses, Peter, that I thought that I'd like. By the time I got there, they were sold to someone overseas that hadn't even seen it. Yeah. And that's the frustrating thing when for me, I'm frustrated over foreign ownership of houses when people here can't get them.
And to be fair, there's not that many 9-bedroom homes. Let's put it into perspective.
There's a separate room for the iron. So
my apartment right now would make yours look like a penthouse.
Yeah. Okay. Look, it's tough, isn't it? Because we're a population of 25.8 million people, and WA knows better than anyone. I mean, you're the economic powerhouse of the country, so you need that international engagement. You need those markets to invest in, to export to. And there's a lot of investment that comes here into Australia that, makes farming operations possible, that there's not capital willing to be, deployed or willing to purchase those assets. When it comes to housing, when you look at, some countries around the world, they either put significant taxes on at the start, which provide a deterrence, or they put restrictions in place anyway. So, we've got some pretty significant restrictions in place, but you're right, it's still a factor. The government's got a migration plan now of 1.5 million people over the next 5 years, 300,000 people a year or 6,000 a week who are going to come in. Now, migration's great for our country, but it needs to be planned.
I just
don't know where they're going to sleep.
The thing is, we do need the manpower to build
100%,
these houses
100%.
that are, so it's a real conundrum.
It's a catch-22, and look, again, I think, yes, there's been an impact out of COVID. A lot of builders that have gone broke, fixed price contracts, and all the material costs have gone up. So, it's been a dilemma for them. In the end, you've got to get more supply into the system. And we've provided a lot of support in recent years for first home buyers to get into homes, but that's fueled the demand for housing. Yes. And I heard the South Australian Premier yesterday just talking about some of the red tape he's cutting to try and get more land on and more density into cities because the infrastructure's already there. So, there are a few options that are available, and hopefully they can get on with it.
It's a problem because there is no short-term fix for this. It's the long game, and it's going to be difficult. We know you've got a million meetings to get to today. You're a very busy man. Thank you so much for stopping by.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Great to meet you, and we can't wait for, should you ever find yourself in power, us coming to Kirribilli House for a sleepover.
Don't worry.
Matching jammies.
Let's play him out. Let's play him out the only way he likes.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.